Right. Thank you very much, Mindy. Uh, so we'll shortly start the presentation. Just to get us all warmed up, I know it's early in the morning where you guys are, or at least where some of you are. Why don't you go ahead and type in the chat where you're connecting from? What part of the country, or what country maybe, are you connecting from to this webinar? Hey, South Africa, Stockholm, you guys were the fastest. Hong Kong, there you go. Amsterdam, Burlington, US, New York, Denmark, North Carolina, UK. Yeah, that's quite an international crowd there. Thank you very much for doing that. Good morning, good evening, and the Stockholm archipelago. That just makes me jealous, Ove. So thank you for sharing. I'm in Helsinki at the moment. It is sunny, so that's not too bad. But as we usually say, winter is coming back. We've been promised a bit more of winter coming shortly. Let's see how that goes. So I wanted to talk to you guys today about why all attempts to improve estimation have failed, and also why they will continue to fail. Of course, we'll talk about what to do instead, but this is a very important aspect of the presentation for today. We have been trying to improve software estimation for many years. In the 60s or so, there was what we call the software crisis, where a lot of thought was put into how can we make software delivery more reliable. So if you feel that's a new thing for you, it isn't for the industry. We have been struggling with that for a long, long time as an industry. Before we go any further, let me give you a gift just for being here. You will be able to get the book, the whole book, no strings attached, for free. So let me just paste the link in the chat. So for those of you in the chat, you'll be able to just open that link, and by entering your email, the book will be delivered to you. So there you go. The link is in the chat. So just go ahead and sign up, and you will get the book. The reason why I'm giving you this book for free, it's the whole book. So there's, it's not a part of the book or anything like that, is that it answers many of the questions that I very often get after giving my presentations. Now, I will, of course, be answering some of your questions today, but naturally, you will have other questions as you start thinking about this, and maybe even as you try to apply this. So that's why I wrote the book. That gives you a good indication or a good set of steps that you can follow in order to apply many of the ideas we will talk about today. All right, but now on to the presentation. A recent study by Aalborg University, and they were looking at 258 international transport infrastructure projects between 27 and 98. So it's not a small number, and it's not software. They were looking at projects. And they found that the actual costs were, on average, this is important, 28% higher than the estimated costs. And that in 9 out of 10 of these projects, so 9 out of 10, there you go, huh? 9 out of 10. So all but one in each 10. Costs were underestimated, resulting in cost overrun. The link is right here. You'll get the deck later on from the organizers of this webinar. And the important thing is that this was looking at projects that were outside software. So when we talk a lot about the problem with software delivery, let's also acknowledge that it's not just software. We have to understand and accept that projects are not the best tool if you want to contain costs or hit a deadline. Now, the problem with this is not that projects are not the best tool. I mean, many of us will gladly admit that. The problem with this is that most of our industry uses exactly this, the project's construct, to try to contain costs and hit the deadline. And once we start to understand that they actually don't work for their intended and advertised use, we have to really start looking for alternatives.